Hey everyone, I'm Patrick Jones, and welcome to episode 79 of That Gives Me Anxiety. Hope everyone had a great Memorial Day weekend. Here in Charleston, it was rainy, but I guess we can't complain. I have to start mowing the lawn in February. Like the weather is nice. It just for the 3 day weekend, it certainly was not. Nice sip there of this Charleston pecan. Is it pecan or pecan? Anyway, delicious coffee. So the bad weather led to us going and buying a car. It literally is the first car I've ever bought. Like, not totally true, but like at full values. The other ones were like family deals, like hometown discounts. I've never like negotiated with a dealership. Jamie and I did it together. The guy commended us afterwards, saying we knew what we were doing. But I mean, it's just I don't know if he was pulling my leg, but if that's true. The best advice I would give from that experience was the ability to say no. Like we walked out and came back a few days later, and they were calling us and making deals or trying to sweeten the deal a bit. Yeah, it's almost like, in a relationship, you want good communication. When you're trying to buy a car, you want bad communication. Just act like you've got a lot going on the side. Yeah, I don't know. We're going to check out another dealership. Keep in mind, this was my first car. Yeah, I'm walking tall. I feel good about the deal, but well, we've got a great episode lined up here. I feel like I have to preface that like I'm Conan O'Brien. A little bit of a palate cleanser. It's the sub series within That Gives Me Anxiety about movies that, or liking movies that a lot of other people hate. It's a sub series I've been working on with my friend Titus Peoples. Titus is a good man. And the two movies we're talking about today are The Return of the Living Dead and Trolls 2, which doesn't even have trolls in it. Yeah, went for the like B movie esque horror films. Both these movies are incredible, so I encourage you to check them out. Well, before we start talking about movies, I just want to remind you, if you're liking the show, please remember to rate and review it. You can check it out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Don't forget the promo code AnxietyPod for Pure Spectrum CBD. And if you're liking the show and you want to make a tip, place a tip. Send me a few bucks. You can do that through the Buy Me a Coffee link, which is in the description. So yeah, let's start talking about trolls and zombies, and let's send it over to Titus. As always, thank you so much for listening, and enjoy. Joining me once again to talk about movies that most people don't like, but we like, is Titus Peoples. What's up,
What's going
Titus?
on,
How are
y'all?
you?
Everything's good, Patrick. Thank you for having me back, man. Like I had fun. So let's do this again, man. Like we here.
Yeah, absolutely. You haven't steered me wrong with the movies that I mean, I guess God, what was that Tom Green movie? Freddy Got Fingered, the first
Freddie got
episode.
fingered.
Oh man, that one was a little rough to watch as an adult, but other than that, the movie you picked, Disco, incredible.
Yeah. Like, I'm the guy. Anybody that needs good films, hit my DM. I will steer you in the right direction.
Nice. So before we jump in there, I just want to give you a chance to introduce yourself once more to the people and talk a little bit about what you do.
Hey, people, my name is Titus Peoples, and yes, that is my real name on my birth certificate. I'm a screenwriter based out here in NYC. I have my own podcast and TV show called When Discussion Strikes with Titus Peoples that you can check out on YouTube and on my Ultimate Class TV channel. And I like long walks in the park.
Yeah,
I like
there it
ice
is.
cream. You know what I mean? Typical
Little
guy from New
highbrow,
York.
little lowbrow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fix. Yeah. That's awesome. Well, all right. The two movies that we're going to be talking about today are I brought to the table The Return of the Living Dead, and you brought to the table Trolls 2.
Yeah,
Which
Trolls too.
I had never seen Trolls 2. I've never seen Trolls 1. But yeah, I mean, my reaction to that movie, it was insane. The acting.
All
Well,
right,
I'm gonna
so
let you set up why you like it.
all right, so we live in a time where art is subjective,
Sure.
but we can agree that bad is bad and good is good. Like,
Yeah.
and Trolls 2 falls in the category of why we're here today. So bad that it's actually good. This movie is so terrible that it actually got a cult following.
Yeah. It's like The Room, right? You ever see that movie?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Yo, it's definitely the room for horror films.
Yeah. It's outrageous.
Unintentional humor, bad graphics, terrible. Oh man, it's just a terrible
Effects
movie.
and costumes. Yeah, it's just
Oh.
like, oh,
But I will tell you this:
okay.
Trolls 2 might have some of the greatest quotables in cinema history. Not just, I'm not just talking about horror film history, cinema history.
Yeah.
Like these quotables are just like, bro, why did this even make the cut of the film? Like
Like
Trolls,
the
like
boyfriend.
oh yeah, the boyfriend, like everybody's just idiots. Everybody's just
Yeah.
idiots in this movie. Everybody. Trolls 2 is like one of those films, like I would say it's an unintentional horror film, but it's also a stoner film too.
It
Because like
is.
I'm pretty sure if you smoke a blunt, you don't even halfway through your first blunt, you won't even care what this movie is about anymore. You're just there for the shits and the laughs.
It's a
You're just
get
there
your
for the
friends
laugh.
together, right? Yeah, and
Yes.
watch it, and like everyone's cracking jokes, and it's insane. First, the monsters they're never even called trolls; they call them goblins throughout the whole movie. It's like they forgot the
Yeah.
title.
You know what? Because somebody forgot that they were making Trolls 2 and they was making goblins. Like it's just one of those things that just happens throughout the movie. Like
Mm-hmm. So like the main premise for people is this like family does like a house swap. I mean, no spoiler. It's an old movie. It's and I don't think we can go line by line and it still wouldn't capture it. Like you still could know everything that happens and still watch it and have a great time.
absolutely.
So this family tries to do a house swap with this other family who lives out in the country, right? To get like a little vacation time, get a little fresh air. But that the town is like the goblin town. So like they're trapped in and the whole town is in on it. So that's the basic premise. But like where did they find these actors? Like the acting is
Terrible.
it's
There's only,
god awful. Yeah.
there's only one word to describe this acting in this movie, which is terrible.
Yeah.
Not plausible, not understandable, terrible. They
Yeah.
got a bunch of actors on their way to set. No, not even actors. They found a bunch of people on their way to set and said, here's a call sheet. Meet me there at 6 o'clock in the morning.
You're the star. Yeah. Here you go.
Like, you are the star of this film. Because everybody else with sense that read this film said no.
Yeah, right.
But you're the idiots who's going to star in it. Yes.
Right. I think the favorite line that I had, and I can't believe that this movie was not a part of my life forever. I'm glad I have it now. But the guy is in like the witch's house and he goes, "Oh my God, they're eating her."
And then they're going to
And
eat
then
me. Oh my God.
and he's like, "Oh, they're eating her."
Like,
Oh my! I gotta insert that clip into this
oh
moment
yes,
right here.
please do,
Yeah,
please do.
yeah,
People need context, like
yeah.
Make yourselves comfortable.
They're eating her. And then they're going to eat me. Oh my God!
all right, so guys, for the people that are hearing this, if we can compare Trolls 2 to a movie that's out now, it would be the Jeepers Creepers 3 of the past.
Okay.
But I will tell you this, there is no intentional comedy in Jeepers Creepers 3. Like, you know what I mean? But as far as like production and quality, like in everything, it falls in that category. It falls in that category of like bad movies.
Yeah, it's kind of it kind of if Evil Dead somehow works, right? Like it's ridiculous. They're overacting. It's gory for almost gore's sake. but it somehow it works. It doesn't take itself too seriously. Like this movie
Right.
tried to take itself seriously and
Exactly.
failed.
That's what they did. Now, if they would have marketed this film as like a comedy horror, this would have been the greatest comedy horror film of all time.
And there's such a market for that, right? There's like Cocaine Bear out now, right? Like people like that shit.
Yo, listen. I almost tell people there's no excuse why your project can't get made anymore. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we have sharks and tornadoes, bears on cocaine.
We live in a golden
Trolls.
age. Yeah.
If Trolls 2 can get made, your project can get made.
Yeah. Well, when did you first watch Trolls 2? Were you a kid or?
Oh, yeah. I was a little kid growing up.
Okay.
Like, you know, so I seen Trolls 1, but oddly enough, Trolls 1 and Trolls 2 really don't have anything in common. It's
what happens
like,
in Trolls 1?
So that's all right. So Trolls 1 is actually a horror film. Like, you know what I mean? Like a good horror film. That's the sad part about it. So, like, this studio, I guess what they did with Trolls 2, they just slapped the Trolls name on there to like ride the wave of it.
Yeah.
But as you said, they weren't even called Trolls in the movie. They were called
Not one
Pop-Ups.
mention. Yeah.
So it's just, and there was just a lot of that in the 80s. Like the 80s is, we often look back at the 80s as like being like one of the greatest time for horror films, but it's also the time of like those weird movies like April Fool's Day, like Black Christmas. But oddly enough, April Fool's Days and Black Christmas are actually good horror films. Like, you know, but then there's those that fall through the cracks that they're going to make the scariest film of all time. No, you made the shittiest film of all time.
Yeah, I think that's a good point that they clearly just bought a movie and were like, all right, you know, we'll just Trolls. Like no one will even care that they're referred to goblins. Like the name of the town is Goblin spelled backwards.
Yo, all the telltale signs, and then I mean, like, and then that's just poor creativity too. Like the town is Goblin spelled backwards. Like, come on.
Yeah.
A 6-year-old could have pulled the town out his ass and said, we're going to call it that.
Also, it's like, all right, so this family wants to go on vacation and is renting a home in like the country, right?
Yeah.
I know it's before the internet, but like you gotta talk to somebody. Like, what were they gonna? There's not like a lake. There's not a nice restaurant, like a barbecue spot or whatever food people are into. There's seemingly no draw to this town at all.
Absolutely nothing. And right, you spoke about the plot, but after you really get past the whole, they're just going on vacation, this movie is really actually pointless. Like, and I'm like, there's nothing really, there's no aha in there. There's just like a whole bunch of what the fuck. Like, you know, like there's no
a great log line. This is a whole bunch of what the fuck.
It is like, cause like there's no, oh my goodness, I understand why this happened now. They're just like, again, this was an unintentional stoner film. After your first blunt, you don't care anymore. Like you're just there for the shits and the giggles.
Yeah. I'm wondering if you've ever got, as a kid, like if you went on any weird vacations or things where you were like looking at your folks being like, why are we here? That kind of thing.
You know what? Oddly enough, no. I've been a city slicker my whole life.
Okay.
But I have lived in Langhorne, PA for 2 years. I lived in Langhorne, Pennsylvania for 2 years.
Okay.
So much like the family, I have experienced the countryside, deer, skunks, and stuff like that. But nothing crazy.
Okay. Yeah, it definitely took me some getting used to moving out of a city to a more like rural setup right now where I am. And my fiance is from more like rural parts and also lived in the Twin Cities. But like I remember saying to her, like, I don't know what the deal is. Like I know how the game is played in the city. I don't know what to do in this like country environment, right? It's very It's a different set of rules.
Give me the rules. Yes. Please,
yeah.
give me
Right.
the
Someone's got to explain this to me.
Yeah.
Like you say hello to when you see somebody in New York. Like I feel like you may nod or you make like eye contact just to see if the person's nuts or not. But here people are just like, hey, how are you? You know?
Oh, you gotta be careful about that. There's horror movies about that, brother. Like
That's true.
you better be careful.
Yeah.
End up tied to a table somewhere, about to be sacrificed to some four-legged goat someplace. I've seen a movie like this.
Yeah, that's true.
Careful. That's all the telltale signs of a horror movie.
Right? Rural,
Beyonce
unsuspecting city
moved
slicker.
City Slicker
Yeah.
to the country. And little do he know this is his last weekend alive. So
just like an outsider, right? Yeah.
Right.
Just like a Children of the Corn setup down here.
You know what? And oddly enough, whenever I drive like past the countryside, that's the first film that pops into my head. Well, there's certain films when like you're on the countryside, if you're a horror film fan, that pops into your mind. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, easy. Jeepers Creepers, the first one.
Love that one.
Jeepers Creepers 1 is the best one if we're really being honest. Like, you know,
let's be honest, yeah.
Yeah, like Jeepers Creepers 1 is the best, and like the rest of them just fall to shit. Especially that third one. Jesus Christ, like.
Yeah, it just goes to banana lands. Yeah, just
nuts.
Like
terrible.
Yeah,
terrible. But like, yeah, like the countryside is a great place to live. So my older sister, it's peaceful.
Yeah.
But if you're city boys like us, you might want to go to the store, throw in your sweatpants, go across the street, go to a little corner store, something like that. The closest corner store is like
I got a 40-minute
walk to the gas station. It's weird. It's weird.
It's very different. Yeah. But it's still nice. Yeah, I still need that interaction, right? Like I need to go to like the spots and you know, say hello to people. And
me, I like to hear noise. Like, you know what I mean? I like to hear the cars. I like to hear, oddly enough, when I went up to my sister's house, I felt kind of sad. There wasn't crackheads arguing outside my window. It was just like, damn, it's mad quiet out here. I looked out the window just to make sure I'm like, dang, ain't no crackheads around here? Like,
it's almost too quiet, right? Yeah. That when I first moved here, I got nervous about just not being able to hear other things because then it's like, oh, then someone's gonna come here with a gun.
Right. And then oddly enough, it gets so dark. Like, you know what I mean? Like it gets dark.
Yeah,
dark.
Without the streetlights. Yeah.
Or it gets black. I mean, like Wakanda Forever black. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's a black. Like, yo, like this house is dark as hell right now. Like, you know?
Yeah, it's scary. Especially since everyone down here's got a gun. They know, we all know they have guns. Yeah.
Yeah, like
well, that's a different podcast, I guess.
Well, yeah, that's definitely a different podcast. That's definitely a big podcast.
So what is it? Oh, what were we gonna say?
No. I wanted you to finish what you was about to say.
I was gonna say, like, what do you think it is about a silly horror movie that makes it so fun? Is it, you know, horror movies can make us feel so unsettled, but like a silly horror movie is just fun. And I don't know why. Is it just that you think you're winning? You think that like it's less scary? It's like I don't know what it is.
So don't quote me on this, but I was watching a documentary about horror films, and they said like there's a scientific explanation on why we like horror films. Because they said that, don't quote me on this, people do your research. Like, I'm not the science guy, I just write scripts, but they say, quote unquote, at the same place that your fears come from, also it's the same part of the brain where you create what you find funny. So like me and you, two separate folks, you see somebody slip and fall, you might go, oh my God, is everything okay? And actually be scared that person might be hurt. Me, on the other hand, I might find that shit funny as hell. I laugh my ass off.
It's true, yeah.
So I think it comes from like a similar brainwave and like a way of thinking. If you really think about it, horror and comedy do go hand in hand. Like, we've seen Chris Rock write and produce one of the Saw installments.
Did he?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah. I think it's called Spiral, the Book of Saw.
Okay, I'll have to check that out. That's cool.
Yeah. And we got Jordan Peele, as you know.
Of course, yeah.
So, and if you really just look at certain horror films, like actual scary horror films, there are a lot of funny scenes in them. Like,
that's true.
So,
There's also like a lot of like sex scenes in them too, right? Like
yes,
like a couple
absolutely.
goes and bangs, and then Jason Voorhees comes and gets him, right? It's just
But you know
step
what?
and
I actually
repeat.
read somewhere that was actually like a way to scare teens into not having sex. Like,
I could believe that. Yeah, right. I would
you
definitely
know,
believe that.
oh God, let's not have sex in the woods. Jason is coming. Or let's not
Jason
have
is
sex
just a
at all.
metaphor for like gonorrhea or some shit.
Word. Oh my goodness, babe. I got the Jason.
Yeah.
I got a bad case of the. That's exactly what it sounds like when you itching down there too. That's
Yeah.
exactly what it's going to sound like. So I could believe that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I like it when it's done correctly. I like when horror and comedy is mashed into one.
Hmm. And it knows what it is. Yeah. I've also heard that a psychologist say that horror movies are people are interested in horror movies because they allow you to sort of practice your fight or flight. It's a brain exercise to put yourself in the person's position to start working out like how you might get out of that situation, what you might do. And so it's like a little training exercise for
Actually,
that part of your brain.
absolutely.
Yeah. But I mean,
Like,
that's what we all try to do to be like, no, I would have gone in that door. I would have done this. Right. But it's just, we're always walking tall when we're watching these movies, but yeah, it's fun to like actually try that on, and nice to hear like an actual psychologist being like, yeah, this is like an important exercise. So if you get some real shit, you might be a little bit more better prepared.
absolutely. And I'm gonna tell you this right now. If you really want to enjoy an old school horror film,
Uh-huh.
watch it with a bunch of black people. I'm telling you. Watch it with a bunch of black people. Oh no, you better not go in that closet. Oh, that stupid bitch. Oh, that couldn't have been me. Oh my God. I would have been running, girl. I would have been running. Girl, look at her. Oh, you're gonna have a good time. Like the commentary is the best.
Yeah.
Actual commentary on films are the best.
I remember I saw Freddy versus Jason in like a crowded movie theater, and there was like several people that were cracking jokes, and like they had like the whole audience laughing at their jokes and their reactions. It was like an added bonus to have.
Yo, listen, you know what it is? I can speak about this because like me obviously being African American, we have a black people have a special history with horror films. Like one of the earlier horror films starred an African American male, and this was actually groundbreaking. Like the original Night of the Living Dead starred a black actor during a time where
Yeah.
things were very much still segregated.
Uh-huh.
So like we have our place in horror history, but we also add our jokes to it. Like, I mean, I can't even tell you the amount of people that have told me they personally don't go in the woods for nothing because of Friday the 13th.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
then, right, all it takes is one black person to start to run, and we're all going to start running. Like, we don't know why he's running.
Don't ask questions. Yeah.
Run. Yeah, don't ask questions.
Just go.
We're just going to start running.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's us.
Yeah. And probably for good reason.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to add about Trolls 2 other than like a heavy encouragement for people to definitely watch this movie because it's bonkers.
Guys, watch Trolls 2. Bunch of your friends. If you don't drink, smoke something. If you don't smoke something, drink something. It's going to make the movie worthwhile. It's a terrible movie. I'm telling you that right now. But there's a lot of great quotables. You're going to be laughing your ass off.
And you don't want to miss like a moment. Like there's such poor acting, like the subtlety. It's funny. It's like when they say like someone wins an Oscar for their performance, it's like, oh man, the subtlety to their performance. This is the opposite. It's like the subtlety to how bad it is. Like you see what they were trying to do and how they missed it. Like it's
yes,
you just don't want to miss
completely missed the mark.
Yeah.
Completely missed the mark.
You just want to feel better about you at your job, right?
Right.
Watch somebody fail at theirs.
Trolls 2, watch it as you're in for a treat.
Yeah, absolutely.
A terrible treat. Like,
But a treat nonetheless, yeah.
Yeah.
So moving on to the next movie, the Return of the Living Dead. Can we talk? I know you've got a lot on your plate. You've got work, you've got friends, you've got family, pets, you've got the people that you make small talk with at the coffee shop or gym. You've got that bird that you see when you wake up every morning outside your window that you've projected things onto. Look at that bird. Doesn't even love its family. It's always by itself. You do that. Everyone does that. Point is, you've got a lot on your plate. Well, that's why there's Instacart, to take a little bit off your plate. Using Instacart, you search for all your favorite foods and things that you need from the grocery store, all online, all while you're looking at that bird, wondering why it hasn't called its mom. And they deliver it to you. They go to the store and do the shopping for you. And they can deliver it in as fast as an hour. And you can sign up by clicking the link in the description, wherever you're listening or watching. And that's a great way of supporting the show. So it's a great way of supporting this show. It's a great way to make your life a little bit easier, because we all know that you have so much going on, like wondering whether that bird judges you back. One of life's mysteries is that birthdays always find me unprepared, catch me unprepared. I don't go on Facebook as much, so I don't notice them as much. But I want to express my love and appreciation for friends and family. That wasn't part of the copy. I'm just saying it. Year after year, month after month. Even when I see it coming, I'm not ready. Am I a jerk? Yes and no. Why do things have to be so black and white for you? But I've got great news, friends. Introducing monthly card subscriptions from the Cardist Studio. Join the service that delivers the card and the stamp that you'll need to your door. No more errands. Who wants more errands? I don't know why, but I'm starting to think of errands as a kid's name. Errands, go back to bed. Okay, but here's how it works. You choose your categories, from birthdays and celebrations to love and encouragement, or select their full collections and have those thank you notes and just because cards at the ready. Those ones are always so nice. Like when you get a card for doing something and it's just like a small little heads up or token of appreciation, it genuinely makes you feel really good. And best of all, you would never get caught cardless again. Let me repeat, you'll never get caught cardless again. Try to say that a bunch of times in a row. You'll never get caught cardless again. Monthly card subscriptions from as little as $8 per month for the card and the stamp. Delivered to you. TheCardistStudio.com shop subscriptions. And you can use the promo code AnxietyPod for 15% off your originating order. So I chose this one because I have such fond memories of, I watched this movie. The first time I watched it with my mom and my sister. And I was in like middle school or high school or something. And I just remember we were dying laughing the whole time. Like we were just having a great time. So it holds like a special, like nostalgic part of my heart because we're just having fun, man. You know, it's crazy, but also similar to Trolls, like you were saying about Trolls 1. There's the Return of the Living Dead, which was like the first zombie or the Night of the Living Dead, first zombie movie, really good, holds up, still really freaking scary. And then the Return of the Living Dead is this basically cartoon.
Absolutely. Live action cartoon, like, you know,
Yeah.
very much self-aware. But I will say this about Return of the Living Dead. I will almost call it groundbreaking. This is just, unlike the opposite of Trolls 2, it matches some of the horror and comedy. Because, like, there were some, holy shit, what the fuck scenes in this movie. Like, you know what I mean? People were getting torn to shreds in this film.
Yeah.
And those scenes were like...
Yeah.
So...
And I think just like the subject matter of zombies is scary because it's like this existential fear like the end of the human race, right? Like you can, I don't know. It's just such a scary thought to me to think about like how the whole planet could, like all humanity, like if I was to die today, it would be really awful, but like it's really different if it's like shit, we as a species is gone, right? It's just
Yeah, we as a
really
species are
dark.
gone, like, or then like we as a species just come back reanimated as zombies. Like,
Right. Yeah.
I feel like everybody that's ever watched a zombie film have asked this questions. And if you haven't, you are telling yourself a lie.
Yeah.
If my loved one became a zombie, would I have the heart to kill them?
Would you?
I mean, I'm gonna be
Because this is
honest, like,
recorded and this is going to go out to the public. So,
oh, so listen, I'm gonna be honest with you.
Please do.
I'm gonna have to say, yeah, like, I'm not trying to get bit. I'm trying to, like, if the zombie apocalypse happens on a Tuesday, I'm trying to at least make it to Friday. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It becomes like a
Like,
game, right? You don't want to get caught in tag, right?
right, yeah. Like, let's
Especially
not
when
get
tag
into
when
that.
someone's biting. Yeah.
Right. Bite, you're it. Like,
Yeah.
like, it ain't no more tag. It's bite, you're it. Like,
It's a different game. Yeah. I don't want that.
me neither. Like, nobody wants that. So what I liked about Return of the Living Dead is self-aware.
Mm-hmm.
It
It's where
knows
Charles Who Fails. This one succeeds in that. Yeah.
right. It's a film that doesn't take itself too serious, but takes itself serious enough to still be considered a horror film.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and people are dying in different ways, right? There's a lot
Absolutely.
going on. I'm sorry, you were about to say something there?
Yes. And what's standing out to me the most,
Mm-hmm.
the impressive special effects. Impressive.
Yeah, it definitely a step up, right? Like what comes to mind is they get that one zombie in that like has her spine sticking out and
Yeah,
she's
yo.
talking. It's like a puppet, right? But it's fucking fun. Yeah. And they question it, they interrogate it. Yeah. And
Yeah.
her spine is flopping around like it's a tail.
Yo, it's like, but look, that still holds up to this day. Like, like, I've seen this film at this point is obviously probably, if not already, close to 40 years old. I've seen terrible zombie makeup and special effects that were just made in 2018. So
Yeah.
for the fact that that zombie still looks great as opposed to what's being put out now, that says a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a good hat tip. I wanted to ask you about, so this group of friends goes into the graveyard to like hang out, and like that one chick gets naked. It's like, what are you doing? How hard do you like? What do you like? What's happening? Why?
I mean, and then like, let's talk about this. Out of all places teenagers would like to hang out, I'm almost certain in any century or any timeline, the graveyard is the last place.
I have to push back on that. As a middle schooler, would go to a graveyard near where I grew up to drink beer. And I stopped doing it because I started to feel bad about it. But like the first couple times, it was just like a space where you could be, right? Started going to the woods instead. But as a teen, like you have a lot of space.
Me and my friends have a saying for that.
What?
That's that white people shit.
Yeah. It is. Yes, it is.
But hey, we all do our own thing.
Right.
We all have our own thing. Right.
That's my journey.
No judgment here. Right. Yeah. But how that girl got turned into a zombie, that was scary.
Well, especially it was a setup too, where she was like talking about how what scares her the most would be like attacked by a group of old men. And
right.
And then that happened. So that's just good, clean writing, right? To
absolutely
set up
it foreshadows.
Yeah.
And her coming out of the smoke, like, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, oh, nah, that's kind of scary.
Right.
Like,
and then she turns into a demon that with like bigger jaws and shit.
It was weird. Like it seemed like when like you got bit by a zombie back then, it almost like you got zombified, but you also mutated in a sense too.
Yeah, right. It depends who you got bit by. Like you got a certain pedigree, right? You
Right.
got some.
Yeah. Oh, but let's talk about how the cops got ambushed.
All right. So this is the part that my mom, my sister, and I were like dying laughing at because go ahead, take it away.
Yo, so these zombies actually got sense. One of the zombies got bit. He was probably an officer, or probably not. He gets on the walkie-talkie to lure the other officers in. And when the other officers open up their police car doors, they are ambushed by a barrage of zombies.
Which is it's so funny because he's like, send more
Lord,
cops. Yeah.
But oddly enough, as funny as that scene is, there is a second of like, oh damn. Like
you never see zombies that smart. You like
never.
and any this is like the only example of that I can remember where zombies can communicate and like manipulate the world in their favor, which is a fun idea.
But I will tell you this.
What?
I think I mean, like you could call them zombies in the sense, but they fall under the infected, the zombies from 28 Days. Listen,
terrifying.
I'll take a dumb zombie that walks slow. Dude, I'm a bigger dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I could run, but I can't run forever. Those zombies can run.
Yeah. Well, it's like a little old lady in that movie suddenly turns into like an NFL wide receiver, right?
Or like Jack Tony Percy. She's just she's just cooking. Like,
yeah.
Whoa, somebody throw her a football. Jesus.
Right.
Like she's not stopping either.
Yeah.
Bite, you're it. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
terrifying.
I do not want to. Yeah, like it's scary.
Yeah. But yeah, I just love that as like it's such a comedy, like going back to the cops and stuff. And then it just becomes this cycle of them hiding behind ambulances and chasing out the next like poor first responder that shows up. Just fantastic.
Oh, great soundtrack. I think this soundtrack might be fall under for me, where the soundtrack is just as good as the film.
Yeah.
Great soundtrack.
Yeah,
great soundtrack. The nice mix of pop and rock, the whole pop rock element, like
which is important. I feel like that raises a good point for a horror movie and a horror comedy movie. Having some good tunes in there, it just really adds to the moment, right? To like have the people getting extra excited. That's an underrated aspect of a horror movie.
Yes. Oh, like we could go through it. I think as far as composing and stuff go, having good music in a horror film is like super important. Like, let's go through the list of great tunes. We got Jaws. We have Halloween.
Yeah.
Great music helps move the story along.
Absolutely.
And it's also dope when like they have music for when the killer is coming. Because like I think we get so caught up in the do-do-do-do-do. Like we also forget about the then when like
it's terrifying.
Coming. When Michael Myers is actually coming, then I'm like, yo, you're highly effective because it does something to your nerves too. Like
it does. It just you can't like settle.
Right. Because like you know he's right there. So a great soundtrack, good composition will definitely move your film along. I actually will say this. If you have good music and good composition, it can actually save your movie.
It could. Yeah. You just got to get Hans Zimmer going, you know?
Oh, yeah. Like, you definitely going to have to call up Hans. Definitely.
Call up Hans.
One, I like the cast. Forgot his name, like the one black guy.
Yeah. You're talking about, he was in the crew in the graveyard and he had like that kind of like Michael Jackson jacket.
Right. I like when he got smacked up because he was scared.
Yeah.
Shut up. There's a lot of great scenes in that movie. A lot of great scenes. Yeah.
Well, there's two monsters this is what I wanted to mention before. The Tar Man, which he has his name, right? The brain. More brains.
He was scary.
Great victim. Scary or great monster. Very scary.
And that goes back to what I be saying about horror movies too sometimes. Practical is better.
Yeah.
Practical, there's something about horror films. Like, I know we live in this futuristic time with AI and stuff like that. Practical
Always
is
better.
better.
Yeah. That guy was
But I'm
scary as shit. And the way he moved, just sort of like,
word, like, and then he was smart too. He put the chain on the door and was
yeah.
cranking the thing so the door could be pulled. I was like, yo, these are smart zombies, and they terrifying.
Yeah. The other one I wanted to mention was the like naked dude with no head kind of running around. Well, his head gets chopped off, but like he runs at the dude in the beginning. I don't know if you remember that guy. Like that was just hilarious that he just starts
Oh yeah,
running
yeah,
at
yeah. He
people.
was looking for his head and everything. Like,
Yeah.
yo, I might have to watch this again with some friends because
Same thing, man.
I
Same
gotta
thing as
introduce
Trolls
them
2.
to this. I
Yeah.
gotta introduce them to Return of the Living Dead.
Amen. Yeah. Well, Titus, I don't know if there's anything else that you want to mention about this movie, but I've really enjoyed messing around with you again.
Absolutely, Patrick, man. Like, yo, we gotta do this more often, man. Like, yo,
Yeah.
this was fun. Guys, if you're looking for me on social media and want to talk film, I am Titus Peoples across the board. You can find me on Facebook, Titus Peoples. Please tune into my podcast when discussion strikes. New episodes will be coming out soon.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, man, and we'll talk soon. Man, even talking about these movies makes me want to. I've seen Return of the Living Dead like a bunch of times, but I've only seen Trolls 2 once, and I need to watch it over and over and over again. I can't stress how poor the acting is. They couldn't have done it better if they were like trying to be comedic. Well, yeah, thank you so much to Titus, and we'll be recording another one of these that, I just like to change it up every once in a while. Before I get to the weird thing causing me anxiety this week, just want to remind you of the Buy Me a Coffee link. It's just a way to make a donation, a tip. You can do that in the description. Pure Spectrum CBD offers the promo code AnxietyPod for 15% off. So don't forget about that. That link is in the description, so you can jump right in there. But don't forget the promo code at checkout, so you actually save some money. If you want to sign up for home delivery for groceries, you can do that through the Instacart link. By signing up that way, you're telling Instacart that this show sent you, which helps support the show. And also don't forget our friends at the Cardis Studio, who also offer the promo code AnxietyPod for 15% off your initial order. Father's Day is coming up. You send cards on Mother's Day. Send your father a card. Come on. Okay, weird thing causing me anxiety this week. So, I've mentioned that we've been trying to plan our wedding. And, part of that is trying to get in a little bit of shape. Of course, right? It's a thing that people do. I don't know why I'm getting defensive. But I bought a pull-up bar. And the pull-up bar was intended to be attached to like a concrete wall. So don't really have the attachments. Didn't come with the attachments. So put it into the studs of the garage wall. So I looked up online this way of putting it up by putting 2x4s across into the studs, and 3 of them, and then attaching the pull-up bar to additional 2x4s, which has just been making me so nervous because I'm so nervous that I'm gonna pull the wall down. I've tried it twice and it has pulled off the wall both times. And these are not, it takes me a while. I mean, I'm new to home construction projects. If there was no one pulling on it, my plan would work, right? If it was ornamental and for display, this pull-up bar would be great. But the second I'm hanging on it, it pulls out the wall a little bit. Not a lot, right? But still, it's not good. So yeah, I've just been nervous about doing that whole time. Just anxious about if I'm going to pull all the drywall down. If I actually got it in the stud, right? Got a brand new stud finder. And in the end, I had to reach out to a guy that has helped. He's actually a handyman for the Navy, the U.S. Navy. So the man knows what he's doing. So yeah, he's going to come by and help me out. But I just feel defeated. I wanted it. I wanted to be able to do it. But at least this guy will be able to help me out and show me what I did wrong so I can learn for next time. Growth. Look at that. Just got to stop beating myself up. Well, anyways, thank you so much for listening. Have a great week, and I'll talk to you on Thursday.